Very well. So let's just try to make this quick. Here in my project folder, right, this WAV folder, I have copied and pasted here inside assets already a folder called sound. So inside this sound folder, which I'm going to provide to you, you can just go and download now if you want. This sound folder, I have pure raw wave audio with some sound effects from the original Wipeout. So we have here an explosion, we have a missile. You see, very small sound effects that we can probably use, send to that DRAM, and then play that thing using our SPU, right? Sound effects. These are not music, these are not tunes, they're just sound effects. Let's say power up. Pretty iconic, right? The power up sound. So let's just do one thing. Power up.wave. We cannot play wave directly like this, right, using the SPU ADPCM sample. So we're going to have to convert these things into ADPCM format, which is basically .vag extension. And for that, you will be surprised to know that in the binaries of our SciQ library, if you open SciQ and if you come to bin, here in the binaries, you have something called VAG edit, right? So you have a couple of sound tools right here, and one of them is this very simple VAG edit. This application right here, you can just open, and it's one of the simplest things in the world. You just open, you can go to the folder that you want to convert the WAV file. So let's just open WAV assets sound. And let's just select Windows WAV format, because that is the format that I have. Let's just get the power up, and let's open. There you go, you have a wave illustration. That's the one I want. And all you have to do is basically just click Save. And that's it. In that same folder that you had your sound, assets sound, you're going to have a powerup.vag. And let's just go ahead and include this file in our project. So we have to go to our CD layout, CTI, and let's just add to our track. So hierarchy, well, maybe we don't even need to add this one to one track. We can add it as kind of this common one, right? So right here before, right in the same level as this all ship CMP and PRM, let's just add a file. So file powerup.vag and file, and then let's just add this thing. XA file attributes, form1 data, sure, and then the source is game deer assets sound powerup.vag. So in theory, if we save and we compile this thing, and we generate our our ISO, or build ISO, we should have that file, right, that VAG file inside our file system, right, in the CD. Right, so now that we have included this VAG file, and it is one of the files inside our CD-ROM, let's learn how to work with these ideas of, well, basically using the SciQ library to go and send values, right, send this VAG file to the SPU. We have to go and send these things to memory, so we can actually just go and play that using one of the channels of our SPU. So let's just do that quickly. What I'm going to do is I am going to come here in our project folder, and let's just, as we are used to, WAV, let's just add inside src, let's just add something called, let's say, sound.h and sound.c. So we can handle all this sound stuff. So new, we just add something called sound.h and another one called sound.c. And let's add them to our IDE project. src, sound, and sound. Cool, so there we go, sound and sound. Sound.h, it is no surprise that we have a protection guard. And I'm going to already include right here one of the super important libraries that we need, which is libspu.h, which has several helper functions for us to go and play audio, control CD tracks, send data to the SPU, play different channels, load different channels with VAG sound, so you name it, right? We have all these helper functions. They already know how to go and communicate with the SPU and kind of do things behind the scenes for us. All right, so libspu is one. Let's just also include, remember the globals. Globals.h, I think it kind of comes with all those important includes that we have, right? The types, the libgte, and etc. Cool. So sound.h, I think one of the functions that we need is something to initialize the sound system for us, right? We have to initialize the SPU and set everything to known state. So let's just add something called void sound init. And I'm going to go ahead and say that we have something else called void transfer VAG to SPU or SPU. Because this function is going to go and transfer a VAG file that we open to the SPU, right? We have to go read from the CD-ROM byte per byte and then send that information to the SPU so we can actually play that into one of the channels of the SPU. And for that, we're going to need a file name, and also let's just say an unsigned long length. So we know the length, right, of that audio that we want to send to the SPU. Right, so that is, I think these two are going to be the initial ones that we need to at least hear something on the emulator in our case. Cool, so let's go and try to implement these two functions in sound.c. This one include sound.h, and there we go. Let's implement this one, and let's implement this one. And of course, right here in main.c, we are going to have to include, let's just say, include sound.h, because I want to, at a certain moment, I want to go, let's say at setup, let's just, right here in setup, the last thing we do is we transfer a VAG file, we load a VAG file and we transfer to the SPU and we ask to play that file. So play a sound effect right here at the beginning of the game. Right, so let's just see if that works. And that should be as simple as, well, we first need to load our VAG file from disk, right? And then our second to do is we have to transfer that VAG data to the SPU and play it in one of the channels. I think that's what we need to do, right? And let's think about loading a VAG file from disk first and then transferring that data to one of the channels. Right, so now that we converted that file, everything is on disk, in the next lecture, let's just take our time and implement these two important functions, right? Loading that VAG data from the CD-ROM, because we are already including the CD-ROM, it is there. We just have to go and do that reading byte per byte that we have been doing from before, right? We know how to do that. And once we have that VAG data loaded into memory, we have to go and start sending that from RAM to the SPU. So we can actually go and play that using one of the channels, right? And remember, we have more than one channel, so we should be able to play more than one sound effect if we wanted to, right? Simultaneously if you want, at the same time, or one and then overlap, because those different channels, they should be able to play those things kind of in parallel, all together. But let's just add one sound effect and see if we can play just one sound effect, right? That power up to start. And then after that, then we can do a couple of exercises, load more stuff, and it is up to us to do whatever we want, right, with sound effects. But let's just see if we can load this VAG file and then play that VAG file using the SPU, right? Transferring that data to the SPU and then playing that in one of the channels.